Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me. How are you? Good to see you all again. Well, not that I can see you, but you can hear me again. Poor people. As ever, Mark Robinson, the host of Wear Many Hats here. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. As ever, please like, share and follow the podcast on whatever medium you listen to it on. Preferably like, follow and share on LinkedIn, because that's the one that we utilise the most. Anyway, really exciting episode here for you today. I'm pleased to welcome Eva Lamont, who is the Workplace Experience Director at CBRE. Hello, Eva. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. How far have you come today?
From Bond Street.
That's not far, is it?
Our office, Henrietta House is Bond Street. So, but I accidentally missed the tube stop and ended up at Transfer Lane, so I didn't do well on the 8-minute commute.
Oh, God, no way. Well, to be fair, did you walk back up from Chancery Lane? Or?
No, I got the tube back.
No way. Come on, Eva.
I know.
Really?
I did another 3 minutes. Didn't want to keep you waiting.
Oh, right. Okay. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Have you had a busy day?
Yes, always in the world of running sites, as you know.
Exactly. What have you been up to? Anything interesting happened today?
We actually had a data and digital day, which took over. It was in most of our event spaces today.
Oh,
and it's
really?
about educating the business on how AI, how we as colleagues can benefit from AI.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's
so
going to
run by our D&T team, so it was very good. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that at some stage, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Anybody who contributes to the podcast and the world of FM is, a massive thing for us. So I always ask a really easy first question. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your career and how you ended up in facilities management.
Yeah, so I think like everyone these days, it's a little bit of a squiggly career.
Yeah.
When I was at uni, I wanted to be a music therapist, and then
what's a music therapist?
It's therapy through music.
Right.
Because I played piano and everything when I was younger.
Oh,
However,
really?
Statistics was on a Friday, and I would always go out on a Thursday night, so I never made statistics, and I failed.
Oh no!
So then
no
I
way.
couldn't be a therapist. Went into the music industry when I left. Worked for record labels, artists, did a lot of management, ran a lot of events, worked for UK Music, who are the trade body of the UK music industry.
Yeah.
So we'd try and lobby government to put more money into education and bring them along to the award parties and things like that. So that was a very interesting 2 years.
So what award parties are just?
So we would take MPs to the Brit Awards, any of the we'd work with the BBC to put on anything that we were trying to lobby at the House of Commons. So we worked with the BBC to get artists, Sam Smith, Jake Bugg at the time.
Jake Bugg, he's all right, actually, isn't he?
Yeah. So I mean, this was probably about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And but to put on the parties at the House of Commons, they were very well attended because it was the music industry. So
really?
We had, I think 300 people on the terrace of the House of Commons at one point. So that was a great part.
That must have been really interesting.
Really interesting, yeah, especially to work on the legislation side of the business. And also we would take artists to go into schools and universities across the country to try and help the next generation of music producers, artist managers, and also just to say that you don't have to be a musician, but you can go into the music industry and learn about labels and
because given the size of our country, we definitely bat above our weight in terms of the standard of music that we put out there, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We had the best rock band in the world, didn't we? The Beatles.
And also how much the music industry brings in terms of tourism as well, like things like Glastonbury. So we would do reports, which
Abbey
we
Road.
would everything. So we would do these annual reports and then feed that back to the government to try and help them to invest more in the arts.
Yeah.
So then I left there. I moved to Berlin. And
really? Right, okay.
Lived in Berlin for a year and a half and worked for a DJ there, did a bit of artist management, and then moved back to London.
How did you find living in Berlin?
Loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really good. It was definitely difficult because of the language barrier.
Did you learn German?
I took German lessons for a year and I swear I was just still very hard, but I did give it everything I could at that point.
Yeah.
But great place to live in terms of just the creative aspect and the different kinds of people that are over there as well. They've got definitely a good, in terms of like working benefits like
Yeah.
parental leave, and they look after the colleague. If you're the employee, you're very well looked after. So
Really?
it was just interesting to go and
Yeah, because that gives you a really, I think whenever I've worked abroad, so I think when you work abroad, that gives you an extra dimension to your attitude and how you go about your work and so on and so forth. You know,
Yeah.
it gives you an extra level of experience to draw upon is probably what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then left Berlin, came back.
Hang on 1 second.
Yes.
I have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Famous people, right? who's the nicest famous person you've ever met?
So when I was working for the model management, we worked with Elle McPherson, Daisy Lowe. We worked with Francesca Versace as well.
No way.
They were all so lovely.
Really? That's not the reputation they have, though, is it?
Yeah.
Which is
just,
crazy.
You know, we'd meet them in passing, especially Elle when she was flying in. Everyone was lovely.
Yeah.
Daisy was great as well. I can't say a bad word about anyone that I've really worked with. Sorry, that's not very interesting.
No, I said who was the nicest at first. I was going to come to who was the worst.
If you wanted
I was going to bring that up.
No.
I was going to bring. So you didn't meet any terrors then? I'm going to name check.
No.
Tell me in the pub afterwards. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, cool. All right, brilliant. So obviously worked in Berlin, and then you came back to the UK.
Worked for Soho House.
Yes.
For 3.5 years, and Soho House has they have the members' houses, and at that point they had one co-working space in Shoreditch House, below Shoreditch House.
Yeah.
Started off as one site.
Yeah.
Then we quickly, throughout COVID, then had 5 sites in London. So
because you had a massive expansion in a short period, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Sorry, COVID wasn't good, but it was good for us in terms of being able to open the site. So I went from managing membership and events at one site to then managing UK membership and events, and then communications and the entire members journey from as soon as they applied to then their process of getting on site, what their inductions looked like, what their experience on the app looked like, from then also the event side as well. So it all kind of was my introduction into member experience, which then led on to CBRE, got approached by a recruiter to, it's like, corporate. I've never done corporate before.
I bet that was quite challenging, actually, like moving over to the corporate world.
I was a little bit nervous because I'd only really temped a front of house corporate for like an insurance company, like when I would come back from traveling and things.
Yeah.
But I got a really good vibe from, I went into the building and it's absolutely beautiful. So they had just finished the refurb.
Right.
And this was 2019, so it had only been opened properly for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I met just the most phenomenal people. I think I did like 3 interviews in a week. Like,
oh, really?
Very, very quick.
Yeah.
And I just knew it was the right thing for me to do.
Oh, really?
So now within CBRE, I'm the Workplace Experience Director in one hand, so managing the internal client and colleague experience. Again, through from the clients that come on site, they're welcome, the client lounge, the events that they attend, but then the colleague experience. So from the facilities side of things, do we have things that we need to change? Do we need to look at the data? What are employees saying? What do we need to improve? And basically it's service elevation.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, I lead the occupancy for the building. So I work with senior leaders to map out what they need in terms of the business.
Really? So you're busy then?
It's good. It's lively.
Yeah, it is.
Like I was saying earlier, never bored.
Yeah, exactly, which is good. So, would you say that because obviously you've had quite a very interesting backstory and a very interesting lead into FM, PM, workplace experience. Well, would you say that that's given you a real a bit of an edge because of the environment you've operated in previously?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that CBRE had said they would like Henrietta House to operate like a boutique hotel.
Right.
So it's not the stuffy service, when you walk in and somewhere's quite formal. They wanted relaxed but professional. And I think from the experience I got at Soho House, it fed in very nicely for what they were looking for.
So what was, let's focus on sort of that transition into the FM space. What was the most challenging element of going from, let's sort of not forget Soho House, but let's say you went straight from UK music into that FM world. What was the most difficult element of it?
I think looking at I mean, I had to learn things about sensors and recycling and air quality.
Yeah.
You know, things that from the experience side, I never had to learn before.
No, you wouldn't do. No, I know.
And now I'm sitting in recycling meetings about how we can improve our waste channels.
Yeah.
And if you'd have told me 10 years ago when I was working in music that I'd then be looking at air pollution and that whole other side of the business, I wouldn't have believed you.
It's a very different world to getting MPs drunk, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Without a doubt. It's a real pivot, I would say, Eva.
But I'm so proud of where I am now, but I know that I don't know everything about FM, and that's why I'm going to do my IFM course.
Yes.
But what I have learned is just to show up for everything and learn as much as I can from everyone to get the information to then take it to leaders. Yeah. So it has been a lot of a change, but I think I've navigated it quite well. But learning the CBRE business as well, because I'd never had a real estate background either.
Well, it's the big green machine, isn't it? It's a monster, isn't it?
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
Fair. Yeah, without a doubt. Because I guess in like the music industry, it's a little bit. It's quite. Whilst it feels massive, it's actually quite a small industry, isn't it? Yep. Like everybody knows everybody and things like that. So if you've got to come into a new industry and navigate getting to know everybody in that industry again, that must be quite daunting and a little bit challenging and things like that.
Definitely just learning process.
Yeah.
I think that has been the most important thing. But I love the fact that everything is so clear and you can push things through so quickly.
Yeah.
Where I am now, whereas we've had challenges before where there's too many cooks. You're like, right, who's actually got the final sign off? Yeah,
who's making the soup? Yeah,
exactly.
Without a doubt. Oh, okay, that's really interesting. So, on that basis, you know, let's say, what advice would you give to, let's say, a young person that was leaving school, or college or university or anything like that, and they wanted to have a career within the facilities sphere?
Mm-hmm. I always have said, if or when I have children, they will go and work behind a bar. They're going to go and get customer service experience that will only do them well to then go into, you know, a client-facing role in any capacity. Yeah. But also the learnings. Yeah. So
I say the same thing to my kids. Yeah. Develop your personality, develop your people skills. It'll get you further in life than reading a book. Not that reading a book is a bad thing. I don't mean that. But yeah, I agree.
But I hire, exactly like you said, on personality, because I've left interviews before and who I've been interviewing has just gave me this buzz. And I'm like, if they make me feel that good, they're only going to make our top clients feel that good as well, which is only then good for business.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
But also you can teach someone how to work the system. It doesn't really matter, but you can't teach them to just anticipate what someone would need or be socially aware as well.
And an element of charisma on top of that. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
smiling.
Yeah, smiling. Yeah. Well, it's contagious, isn't it? You know? Mind you, they're turning that into a horror film now, aren't they? You know?
Oh, yes. I've seen it on the buses. It looks terrifying. That is one thing I keep saying, especially, you know, when we're employing front of house staff, they have to, that is a first impression of what we're doing. If a client has a bad first impression of us at the front door, the rest of the business has to catch up and just build back that trust. So it's very important.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Exactly.
I was told that very, very early in my career, and it's a credos that I kind of live by. You know, so I'll always shake someone's hand, I'll always be welcoming, I'll look them in the eye and I'll talk to them a certain way because like you said, it's important, that buzz. You know, that you want them to feel like they enjoy being around you. If that makes sense. Okay, cool. So I was, you know, I usually ask the question, what inspired you to pursue a career in facilities management, but weren't really inspired. Somebody poached you from the music industry, which is quite interesting. But let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned IWFM and doing courses and things like that. How far down that road are you? And have you got a specific mentor within CBRE that's helped you on that journey? And how have you found it? And would you recommend it and so on?
So I have literally done one section of I think it's 20 hours. So I'm so sorry that I wasn't more prepared.
No, that's fine.
But we have a whole, so I'm part of a product called Host, which we sell to clients about workplace services. Which is our GWS part of the business, Global Workplace Solutions. Yes. So within Global Workplace Solutions, there's the IFM, there's all the courses that you would need to help with that as well. So I'm one course in.
But
I plan to do it by the end of the year.
How long have you been doing it?
I did it last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Hey, look, you got to make a start, haven't you?
Yeah,
to be fair, Eva.
Yeah.
How did you find it in terms of doing that first section? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole other world for me.
Is it really? Honestly?
Just, because I'm more of the experience side, so...
Yeah. Are you like more creative in terms of your output? You're more creative than an analytical person, or where would you say you sit?
I think I was, however, with this role, we have to look at the data. And I think that's what I've learned so much in the past 3 years, is just how important the data is for what you want it to do. If you want to elevate service, it has to go back to why, and the why is in the data. In terms of, us even looking at the sensors, air quality, everything has to then go back. Also, how many people are coming into our sites?
Yes.
For staffing as well. I'm like, well, actually, we've got,
footfall's important.
Exactly. 1,000 people a day, we're only going to need X more staff, or...
Exactly. You need to understand how a space is being used, which is absolutely crucial.
So I don't think I was data focused, but I have learned in the past couple of years, just I have to get good at understanding the numbers and also what's missing, what do we need to see, and especially for building dashboards and things, what is important to get things over the line. In terms of leadership, what do we have to present to them? Yeah,
of course, yeah. So what would you say is the most interesting part of your role?
I would say the volume of events that we do well, because we do 100 events a month, client events a month. Yeah, wow. So that's 300, 400 meetings a day, but 100 client events a month.
Wow.
We can do everything from fine dining at lunch to then barbecue, drag bingo.
Sorry, what was that? Drag bingo?
Drag bingo.
What's that?
Drag queen bingo as well.
How does that work?
Oh, just we'll get entertainers to come in.
Oh, so you get drag queens in to do the bingo?
Yeah.
It's not like people dressing up to play bingo?
No, but they also can dress up if you'd like to.
I used to work in a bingo hall,
Did you?
Literally,
How was that?
I quite enjoyed it, actually.
Hang on, were you on MC?
Yeah. I did a little bit of both, yeah. Gala bingo in Bexley Heath. I used to work at. And I actually really enjoyed it,
Well, that led you to probably being good on the mic.
Yeah, that's where it started. the bingo, Gala bingo
them in this podcast.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, I think they're gone now. I think it's Buzz Bingo from what I remember.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. I used to live in New Zealand. I came back in 2008 from the height of financial crisis.
Right.
I couldn't get a job. But I worked at a Gala bingo when I was a student in Darlington, and I thought, I'll just walk in here and see if I can get a job. And I got a job. And I quite enjoyed it. I was there for about a year. It was good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. The older ladies love me.
That smile.
Yeah. Before they brought out that bloody film. Okay, brilliant. So I'll find this will be quite an interesting response from you, actually. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. Coming from the industries that you've come from, which it probably is highlighted, but not necessarily in the same way. It's obviously a big thing in the FM world now. How have you found that transition from that industry to this industry in terms of that sphere?
I mean, we have an entire team dedicated, the ESG team, dedicated to listen to our clients, inform them on what's going on within our building. We monitor absolutely everything. We have 3% waste in our cafe, which I'm really proud of.
That's really good.
Very low.
Yeah.
But we don't have single-use plastic. We reuse as much as possible. We'll put melon rinds into the water just so that everything is used as much as possible to flavour the water.
Oh, right.
It's bougie.
Okay. Oh, it's bougie.
But again, feeds into our ESG goals and what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of education that we're trying to do on just putting the dials back to save on heating and air cooling. We've got sensors, so every 15 minutes everything shuts down. The lights go off, but everything is monitored.
Oh, really?
So that's been a very interesting educational piece.
Yeah, was it quite different from the previous? What was it like in the previous industry? Was it you never spoke about it, or what was it like?
No,
non-existent.
So I had to learn a lot on the ground quite quickly. But the building itself, it is a massive focus point for us, and educating our clients on best practices and good suppliers as well.
Yeah. Were you quite surprised then, coming from the industry you come to into the FM world, like what it actually entailed?
Absolutely.
Were you like, my God, I thought they just clean toilets, or and be honest, because I find that fascinating.
No, I honestly thought it was just engineers or people that would fix the building.
Yeah.
And I think because even when I was previously, I'd hear about kind of FM related stuff.
Yeah.
And we would have one handyman for like a couple of sites or whatever. And I just literally thought that was the role of FM.
Yeah.
But no,
there's
a lot more than that going on.
And also the teams associated with larger buildings as well. Like, you don't actually realise, I think, until you work in the space, how many people keep these things running. Yeah. It's very much a team effort, people involved in it. Was that a surprise to you as well?
Yeah, for our building, 145 square foot, I think there's roughly around 60 of us within the entire FM that run the building. So it's a big machine.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is,
just to keep the lights on.
I know. Crazy,
just to make sure no one dies.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, listen, no, we don't want people dying. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But best practices, make sure everyone's safe and has a great experience within the building.
Exactly. Especially with corporate manslaughter legislation. Yes. We've got to be very careful.
Learning all about the legislation as well. Yes.
Yeah. All right, then. What about health and safety? How have you found that transition in our industry?
Yes, I recently got the team steel cap boots for when they do flipping of events, and that was a whole new thing for me as well. But we move the spaces all the time, so we just need to make sure that the team have the best equipment possible. So choosing the team, not only steel cap, but it had to be in line with our corporate kind of grooming guide. Exactly.
Which is actually difficult to do, because if you're looking at steel toe cap, they're usually the horrible, ugly things out there. They don't look too great.
Well, I managed to get some Chelsea boots, so the team very much thanked me for the steel cap Chelsea boots. So still in line, they could be client facing, but still be safe. So it works out well.
You'd have to let us know where you got them, to be fair. I love a Chelsea boot. I don't wear Chelsea boots. I wouldn't say it, would I? Okay, well, listen, I'll tell you what, obviously based on what you've been doing today, I'm sure you'll have quite a bit to say about this next question. And we talk about it a lot. What role do you see artificial intelligence playing in the FM industry, let's say in 5 years?
There's so many benefits to AI, even in terms of meeting notes. We've actually launched our own AI. We call it LSAI.
Oh, really?
And that's what the Data Digital Day was, showcasing how this product can help us in when you note take, and then
transcribe.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Yeah.
So even transcribing.
Well done, Sophie.
I know, thank you. Sorry, I need another coffee.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But how it can help in that side, just making our lives easier. Then on the reporting side, because we report on how many people are using the building, everything, just make everything so much easier. Less manual from inputting data across the spreadsheets. Then moving on to robots, have mixed opinions. Right, robots, love them for cleaning the floors, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I want a robot serving me a coffee in the client lounge? No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Have you seen Elon's though?
Oh,
have you seen the Optimuses? I love these.
Terrifying.
I am obsessed with these Optimuses. I think they're going to be marching down the residential streets in 5 years. You know what I mean? Like,
is that the ones with the weird face?
Yeah, with the weird face. Yeah.
No,
but they can serve drinks.
I know, but would you want that? Someone just going, "Hello, how are you?"
Yeah, I know, but what if
a bit charisma?
What if in 5 years' time they've got charisma? What if in 5 years' time
train them to have charisma?
They've got a face like us. You know what I mean? And you could just give them all a nice smile.
I think that's a smile too, or smile
a giggly personality. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
But it's not genuine. It's not that natural. They've been programmed to do it. And also, how well can we train them to anticipate the needs, to spot something and say that person needs a hanky, or I don't know how far we could probably do that, but still, I just think, especially for what I do, workplace experience, I want the human element. I don't want to have people sign in on a board. I want them to come up, speak to our front of house team, and feel great about it. So I'm twofold, because absolutely it can really help us, but at the same time,
only in terms of data insights and things like that, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I wouldn't mind seeing them at some of the sort of Spanish holiday resorts I've been to, you know, because they're not very friendly, the people behind the bar in those places, are they? You know, yeah, like an Optimus would be all right there, wouldn't it? You know, like, you know, how's your day, mate? Yeah, it's really good, thank you. Yeah. 15 pina coladas, please.
We'd save on service.
Yeah.
So I do get that side of it, because you'd save on having to pay labour and everything. So maybe robots could be used for some parts, but I think for that, if you...
and there would be no judgment either. You know what I mean? You don't get that look.
Yeah. Another
cocktail. What's going on there? I've got some news for you. You'll never guess what. The Wear Many Hats crew are going to be at Anticipate London, the new revamped facilities show, from the 2nd to the 4th of December at the Excel in London. We'll be there for the entirety of the event, but we're not just going to be there, we're also going to be delivering a live panel show podcast. Why not come down, check us out, meet us in person, and take the time to come to the new revamped facilities show. Hope to see you all there at Anticipate London from the 2nd to the 4th of December at the Excel. See you later. With regards to the Internet of Things, you know, that's obviously very important, as you know, it feeds into AI and things like that. How do you think that will expand further over the coming years, months, weeks?
Yeah, I think so. We've got 1,200 sensors in our building.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a lot of sensors.
That is a lot of sensors.
So we've got for wayfinding, we've got the air pollution, but most importantly, the heat sensors.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good for tracking how the spaces are used. So again, that then feeds into, why is that space not working? So sensors, very good for how we're using the space, particularly heat on the desks. So we get a lot of, we'll get change requests for the buildings because, naturally there'll be someone who's got a suggestion, and it's good to look at the data on, actually we don't need more screens in that area because we can see from the sensors that it's only used for half of the day. Yeah. So then it's a behavioural change.
Yeah, of course.
And also it's all about the communication. And I think what's so important about the sensors that we've got is the data, so that if we do have these questions, which we always do, is just saying, actually, no, and this is the reason why. It's actually up to you to go back to your team and rework how you're using the space yourselves.
Yeah.
So also it saves the business money.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, it ain't cheap electricity these days, is it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, or gas even.
I mean, the sensors aren't cheap as well. However, it's a good overall picture of what's actually happening in your space. Yeah. And particularly just having talked to other people running different sites, they've also said that they don't, some sites don't even have booking data. So they're using certain platform that isn't even, they can't draw reports from. Yeah. So, and I think for future workspaces, data is just going to be absolutely paramount from the get-go. If you're going to run a site, you need to have data on bookings, visitors, and the space themselves. Yeah.
So, like, when you're talking about, like, an event, for example, so what I'm thinking here is would this be a good opportunity to use a system like AI in line with sensor technology? If you've got an event, let's say, and 300 people are in a room, and the temperature was set at a certain rate, but because there's so many people in a room, the ambient temperature goes up because, more people equals more heat equals more movement equals, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Would AI be perhaps a way in which that could be controlled without human intervention?
Absolutely. I would, if that is possible.
Did I just come up with a good idea?
Oh, I would love that, because the amount of times I've had to call engineers after and just say, actually, can you put it up to... Then they'll put it up to half an hour later, I'll call them again. And I remember one just being like, if you call me again. I was like, I'm so sorry, but it's really cold now. And just getting it right. But if AI could do that to anticipate...
Wouldn't it be... I mean, I could really see a use for that in spaces whereby the footfall increases and decreases over a specific period.
Yeah, I know. Saving on electricity or the cooling systems. Yeah.
I've just copyrighted that, by the way, if anybody asks any questions.
I'll invest.
Yeah, you're investing? Good stuff. Ethan, let's get that sorted.
I have £2.
That's our next venture. But it would work. I could see that working. It would make sense, to be fair, because there'd be an opportunity to save a bit of money as well, I think, in the long run. Okay, so moving away from that, How do you stay informed about, developments within the industry and things like that? How do you keep up to speed with changes, Eva?
What I have really tried to, over my career, whatever industry I've been working in at the time, is networking and showing up to events.
Yes.
We even had, so last night we actually had the MD of Sephora come in and do
really?
a talk as part of the Women's Network.
Right.
And I just think that attending things, even if many events that we could all attend each week, however, just giving ourselves that opportunity to go, you're never going to not learn anything.
Yeah.
You'll always learn something. So that's what I've tried really hard to do.
Just go back one step. Sorry to interrupt. You said the Women's Network. Do you want to expand on what that is, just for young, females potentially wanting to move into the industry? Because that, I think, would be quite important. Yeah.
So within CBRE, we've got the Faith Network, the Women's Network. Actually, there's the Faith parents as well. There's a lot of ERBGs to make employees feel comfortable, and also in the design aspect as well. You want to make sure when you're planning for how you're going to run ops in the building that you've consulted what different groups need.
Yes.
So the Women's Network, the team do a fantastic job of interviewing the senior leaders within our business. Yeah. Because real estate as well, women have, there's more women in the industry now, but it's really interesting to just hear their stories.
Well, that's fantastic. It's great that there's more women in the industry, and it just makes the industry better because you are far better than us at most things, to be quite frank. I think, I really do. I believe that. If anyone asks me who's the boss in my house, I'm like, wait. It's just me making a decision, to be fair. Yeah. But it is true, and the industry has changed wildly over the last, even 10 years, really. And it's been accelerated, I think, post-COVID, because, a lot of people retired during COVID. And, the new people that are coming in, new blood, people such as yourself from different industries that are changing how FM is and how it operates and things like that. And I think that's really important.
Even, everyone's got a story or a different background as well. So, and it is just the journey into where they are now, which I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love hearing about people's stories. I love the psychology of why people do certain things as well. So I really do. I'm always trying to learn something. Currently learning French as well. Which
no way. Bonjour. Comment je m'appelle Marc. Comment allez-vous? I think. What does that mean? Je voudrais anglais.
You would like English.
Yeah. That's like. I know. That's my secondary school French. That's it. I can count to 10.
Well done.
Thank you. Okay, so in terms of networking, I just want to expand on that a little bit further. What benefits have you got out of networking throughout your career? And I would expand that to both, your previous career and the facilities management career, and how important has it been to develop you forward?
I remember one of my first jobs in the music industry, and my boss at the time was this ferocious Colombian woman. She was fantastic, and she'd taken us. We were on a work trip. We went across to LA, and she just came, and I was about 22 at this point, and she went, "Darling, I don't know who that person is. Go and find out who they are for me." I'd be, "Hello, my name is Eva. How are you?" And then I go and report back on who it was, and that was my first introduction to just go up and introduce yourself. And I don't care how you do it, but find out what you network with and make them feel comfortable. And since then, it has helped me get jobs, meet people,
put yourself out there.
A lot of conferences as well. I met people in the music industry at a conference, and we're all still close, and it's been 9 years now. Really? So those relationships have not just been professional, but they've also been personal as well. So that, I think that would be my main takeaway for anyone, is network as much as you can. You never know when the world is so small, no matter what. I've currently didn't know someone from my previous role, but because of we knew similar people, she came in. She was great. So, but you never know, it swings and roundabouts. You'll come back into someone else that I haven't seen in 10 years cross paths again. So you just never know.
No,
so be nice to everyone as well.
Well, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
You catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. That's like one of my favourite sayings. He laughs whenever I say it. I say it all the time. But it is so true. It really is. It costs nothing to be nice. I really do think that.
And people remember how you made them feel, not what you said.
I agree. There's like a right to, but I also think as well, and a very clever man said this. A guy, have you heard of Sir Alex Ferguson?
Yes, I have.
Great man.
Yes.
You know, one of the greatest
Old
ever.
Man U manager.
Exactly.
Football knowledge. I don't know much about football, but I know that.
And Aberdeen. He did very well at Aberdeen.
Oh, did he?
Played for Rangers and Celtic, which is one of the only people that have done that, which is quite interesting. But even he said as well, you know, it is okay to lose your temper, but it's got to be at the right time. So it's about having an understanding when and also when and how you do that, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wouldn't want to lose my temper, but my mum always said when we were little, she was like, you want to install a little bit of fear.
Yes.
Just a little bit. Just enough that, you know, no one, the respect is there.
Yes.
But you don't take the mickey.
Yes. You don't go too far.
Exactly.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when dealing with footballers and professionals is a different thing.
Oh, yeah, true.
You've got to apply the rationale in a different way, don't you? You know what I mean? It's just more of a sideways glance and a couple of words, you know, just to make them know, don't mess with me. You know, that kind of thing. I'm joking. Okay, so what do you think the biggest opportunities are in facilities management over the next 5 years?
So we've got we've got opportunities and challenges with that. So with the race to net zero,
yes,
there's a lot of conversations about how we're going to do it.
Yeah,
but the balance is how can we not affect the workplace experience?
Very challenging. Yeah,
very challenging. If you're ripping out gas cylinders, I don't know the ins and outs of what's involved, but you know, if there's a lot of infrastructure work that has to be done to get us there, that's 6 months of work.
Yes.
How do you do that when we are a very busy building at 86% occupancy? Where are we going to put everyone?
Exactly,
So that fantastic challenge, we'll see where we are in a couple of years, and especially when you're mid-lease as well.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a working progress.
It is. Do you think we'll get to net zero?
I think
we can do it as a country?
I think some people will try harder than others.
Yeah. We need a new fuel source, don't we, really? I think
so.
To make it really viable. Hopefully it happens. Okay, so what do you think what do you think your greatest achievement is in FM so far? I know you haven't been in it a significant period of time, but there must be some things that you're quite proud of. And, you know, what are those things?
I think at the beginning of this year, I was trying to think in terms of FM as well, but I did a 300 to 400 person move between buildings across the sites at the beginning of this year. And it all went very well. Everyone was happy. And I think that was probably the biggest, that's probably the biggest thing that I've done so far. We've implemented like new booking systems, and we constantly get feedback on how we're doing. We've created a dashboard where we can monitor every client that comes in. It's like a feedback on absolutely everything that we do in the building. Yeah, we're currently at a 4.8 out of 5, so I'm very happy about that as well. So I think it's not one thing, but it's the kind of what I've learned over the past 3 years.
So kind of a multitude of things that have happened over a period of time, and you're quite proud with the outcome of it.
Yeah, because it's all elevated the experience, which is my role, is just to make everyone's day a bit better. And if that's improving our bookings and making sure that their client has like a 5-star service, then that just kind of signifies the importance of workplace experience, especially if you're trying to get employees to return to the office as well. You want them to feel like it's their home away from home, and also that they don't have to worry about anything.
No problem at all. What about regrets? Any regrets during that period?
Well, I think generally over the past couple of years or at various roles is just not following my gut on things. Like a person as well, if someone's come in for an interview, someone can be nervous in an interview as well, and you've given them
I agree,
and but you think there's potential in there, but actually I haven't quite followed my gut on it. And would they be confident in front of a client or a member? So I think I'm getting I've kind of nailed down exactly what I'm looking for
really?
for the different departments and where we're going to put it now. But that's been kind of learning along the way.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
But recruitment can be a bit of a it can be challenging, can't it? Because sometimes you think you've got it right. Oh, this person's excellent, but then it doesn't work out that way, or
just different things happen in the other person's life as well that then does affect maybe how they're feeling. And unfortunately, we are an ops team.
Yep.
We have to be on site no matter what. So, but regret wise, I think that the regret comes from as well not following my gut in terms of communication or thinking about the entire. I've pushed for comms on a certain thing, and this is something I'm referring to years ago, but the comms team didn't want to do it. But I understood from a person's experience or a colleague's experience how important that communications would be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't done. And then I got shouted at the end.
Oh, no.
I know, by the person.
Bad day.
I know.
Bad day.
Oh, yeah. It was about a printer as well. This was years ago.
Something really innocuous as well.
Yeah. And I was like, this isn't about the printer.
Yeah.
Literally
right.
not.
Okay. Yeah,
no, there's something else going on here.
Yeah. Workplace issues.
Yeah.
Bit of a scrap over the water cooler or something like that. No, that's fair enough. So, I guess the question I have for you is, quite an interesting career, especially in the musical element and the things that you've done. Is FM a place for you to stay now? Is this your home, or what do you think?
do think so. I think I've still got a lot more to learn. I haven't even done my FM course yet.
Right. Okay.
And I absolutely love taking clients around our building and just showing what we're doing in all capacities. So I would love to, I think, get on more into the client sites as well, or understand what other people are doing now that I've seen like what we're doing in our site.
Yeah.
How can I help other clients as well?
Of course.
In terms of data or in terms of just the team, building workplace experience. But I'm really passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
So I'd love to just help people emulate what we've done there in their own sites as well.
That enthusiasm certainly comes through, I think, in terms of how you feel about the building and the work that you've done and so on and so forth. That kind of brings us to the end, Eva.
Oh, I'm quite sad. That went so quickly.
How did you find it?
Yeah, it was great. Lovely talking to you.
Yeah, lovely talking to you as well. Lovely talking to you as well. No, there is one more question, actually. Sorry, I do apologise. I've completely forgotten about it. So what do you like to do outside of work? I think I could probably guess, but
go on, guess.
Going to music shows and things like that, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, but I've done all that. Can't be bothered anymore.
No. Right. What do you like to get up to outside of work? What brings you joy?
Well, so CBRE I started cycling properly when I was with CBRE. So
what's that? Sorry,
cycling.
Cycling.
Yeah. So they do this big EMEA challenge where they got 70 clients and colleagues, and we went and cycled the Dolomites 2 years ago, and then we did the Pyrenees this year. So it's 5 days, 600k.
Wow.
7,000 meters up.
Wow.
And the first year I did it, I signed up for it by mistake. I thought we were going around the mountains in the Dolomites, so I'd never climbed a mountain, I'd never even climbed a hill.
No way.
And I show up, COVID the week before. I was so unwell.
Did you train?
I had done minimal, I had done about 100k, but flat, not going up mountains.
Okay.
On day one, it was 40 degrees and we're trying to get up this mountain. I was like, what is this?
No.
I thought we were going round the mountains.
No way. Did you manage it?
Did it.
Well done.
Yes.
not
But not as well as a
impressive.
lot of other people. But
just finishing it, to be quite frank, is impressive.
But I said I'm never doing it again. And then this year, it was the Pyrenees, and my brother, I was like, no, but my brother's wedding, I couldn't possibly go. Turns out my brother was getting married 2 hours outside Toulouse, where we started 3 days before. So I was like, well, I'm in the area, I may as well do it again. And now I signed up for a third year, and I don't know what I'm doing. Every year I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
So do you actually cycle at home now?
I cycle.
Have you got quite into it, getting out on the bike and things like that?
And I moved to Rye in March of this year. Yeah, so I cycle a lot around Kent, just great for the coast as well. So
really?
I'll do quite a lot of cycling around.
I live in Kent. I do a lot of mountain biking in Kent. Yeah.
Oh, right. Whereabouts?
Well, I'm not going to say on the show.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, fine.
I've got fans. I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't really. No, I live near the North Downs.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I live near the North Downs, but I'm not so much a cycler, but I do quite a bit of downhill and mountain biking. I know you can't tell to look at me, but more than you realise. Okay, well, that brings us to the end. Thank you very much, Eva. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for the time. And that's it.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of another episode of Wear Many Hats. As you can tell, Eva's had an incredibly interesting career. I'm sure she wouldn't mind you reaching out on LinkedIn. If you wanted to ask her any questions about your career aspirations, if you want to ask her about the music business, who knows, or cycling. But that's the end of another show. As ever, can't be good, be bad. See you later.